Welcome back to Racing to Win. We're about to preview our feature of the afternoon at Sha Tin. It's race number 5, the Yan Oi Tong Cup. It's the first of 2 races on the all-weather. Let's take a look at the lineup. We have Chunghwa Spirit, who's coming into the class for the first time. Viva Council's been here already on 23 occasions, but he's drawn wide. They carry saddlecloths 1 and 2. Enfolding has blinkers back on. We move down to Above, who's trying the surface for the first time along with calling the shots. The blinkers off number 6. Happy Star up to the longer trip, and then down the bottom to Dealmaker, Superior Boy. The Full Bloom, of course, a last start winner back into this class. And Jing King ran 3rd last start in Class 5. That was enough for them to decide to give him a chance with a lighter weight here up in grade. Now, Remarkable, Above, Wampoa Star, Superior Boy and the Full Bloom have all been doing some time in Chun Fa. Right, Graham, let's have a look at the speed map here for the feature event. We're on the all-weather, 1650, so we know that it's a fairly sharp run going into the first bend. And there they are there, they've finally come up for us.
And this is going to be lively in the first 400 metres, because not only do we have 2 or 3 front runners, Viva Council, Jing King, Lotus Breeze, they're all drawn high. They're all drawn double digits, so that the race within the race over the first 400 metres is to get across and get the rail. This sets up to be a really well-run race. Viva Council's out in 13, but he has the speed to get across, but he will have competition for that early lead from both Jing King and Lotus Breeze.
The other one too, Happy Star, is a horse, if you go right back through his form, he's led over 1200 on the dirt, so he could provide some resistance as well in the early stages. So, Paul, that sets up for potentially what will be a good pace here.
Yeah, this horse looks well placed in this race. Chunghwa Spirit coming to Class 4 for the first time. His work's been good. He's only won 1 from 24, so he doesn't win out of turn, but he's coming into this grade and he's working well, and he's trialled really well recently as well. Happy Star, the one you were just talking about, Brett, he gets the 7-pound claim. He's been running on this all-weather surface a few times now. This will be his 4th in a row, and he's going to be in that pace battle. That's going to be the problem with him, I think, because he does like to go forward. And Dealmaker, he should get the race run to suit. He's had 2 starts recently on the all-weather, and he's run really well on both. There is only 2 starts to date, so he's a horse that looks well suited by the surface, Dealmaker, and he does generally work nicely on it as well.
All right, let's firstly start off with Remarkable. Now, I think it's fair to say that most of his efforts this season haven't quite been up to par when you compare them to last season. However, a better effort last start.
Yeah, he ran well. He tends to be well backed, especially when Joe's riding him. He's got D'Souza for the first time this weekend, and it's a straightforward case of good effort in defeat with no excuses. He gets done by good fit under a powerful drive on the outside from Teton, and he goes down fighting. He is a horse who tends to run well more often than not. I think it's the same setup again this weekend, Paul. Yeah,
he's had a few runs this season, and I'd say that's the best one that we've seen from him. Last season he had a really good season, didn't he? And he was winning them in a row. But look, it was a good run from him, so he seems to be back to a bit of form now.
All right, well, Superior Boy took an eternity to break his maiden status. He'd been quite consistent prior to that, but eventually his win came back on the 31st of October. He has had 12 minors and 7 fourths, so he's a good money spinner. Yeah,
look, he's a horse that's consistent here in this grade without winning. I mean, his win was Class 5 when he did win, but he won with so much in hand. I think he's up to this grade, but I've only got him in on a minor line.
Straightforward case for me of what happened last time. Not much. He ran a very disappointing race, and he needs to put that behind him.
Yeah, that's generally Class 5 sort of dealings, isn't it, when they do that? Let's move on now to Viva Council, who's, for me, quite a handy horse. He's had 28 starts. He's won 4 of them. One of them's been on the all-weather. He's had another trial in the wet, which was reasonable, but the distance is the big query.
Yeah, he's got the speed to get across, but as we touched on, with the pace set up, he's going to have competition for that lead. So hope we don't have a similar track, sloppy track tomorrow. He's likely to run well. He's a reliable, consistent, on-speed horse, but he won't get a soft lead, Paul.
That's the query, isn't it? I mean, and if drawn the inside of these other speed horses, I'd be a lot more keener on him, but just drawing 13 puts me off.
Yeah, me too. He wasn't that far behind Imperial Concord last start, but the trip does worry me. This is a horse I've been with his last few. I think he's getting better and better. This is a really nice trial from Dealmaker. The 1200 metres last start, Paul, was just a fraction sharp for him, but the 1650 looks right up his alley.
He does, being by Darcy Brahma as well, stepping up to 1650, barrier 2. Look at the handfuls he's got on the trial. Chunghwa Spirit must be said as well. He's in fourth. He's going very well. I think these are the two. It's Mike Quinella for the race.
And on the track last time, he ran into a buzzsaw in Noble de Love, a horse who just sprang to life. So that was a good performance, and everything he's done for the last 2 or 3 runs suggests this trip is exactly right for him.
Yeah, I think we might all be in agreement here, potentially, in the feature. Paul, on top for you?
Yeah, so I've gone Dealmaker to beat Chunghwa Spirit. Chunghwa Spirit won off a rating of 69 and looked really good, but he hasn't gone on with it. He's now down to a rating of 60, so he's the first time into Class 4. So he's the second selection behind Dealmaker, as we said, 1650 by Darcy Brahma. Barrier 2 looks ideal for him. Of the front runners, Jing King, he's the one that's going to come across, I think, with the other horse, which is Viva Council. And I've just liked his last run, Jing King. He's only had the one start in the all-weather and did run third, so we'll put him for third and Superior Boy fourth. 11, 1, 14 and 10, but I do like the 11.
Yeah, I respect him, but Chunghwa Spirit is a horse who, you know those horses who you keep following?
Yeah.
I have to stay with him down in class. He spent his entire racing life in a slightly higher grade than this. And I like his recent form. It's solid. His trial was good. And I think the pace set up for him is good. Remarkable is consistent, no frills, will run well again. Viva Council, despite the competition for the lead, should run well. And I'm a big respecter of Dealmaker at this trip. He must be in all the combinations, I think.
Yep, similar numbers all round by the sounds of it. I ended up signing with Dealmaker as well for the feature race number 5. Just touching on Regan Bayliss, rides the Full Bloom, the last start to winner. Probably one you can sort of flip the coin to decide whether or not you put him into the TT, but 350 winners in Australia, made a nice sort of scenario for himself as a young rider.
And he's got half a dozen rides on his first day. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
He can ride light. That's a big asset here. No bankers among that half a dozen. Horse who won last time, the Full Bloom, but this is a tougher race altogether.
Yeah, a different scenario. And he Class 5 up to Class 4, turf versus all-weather. He's doing a lot of work for John Moore, in the morning as well, Regan Bayliss. So he is riding a lot of his horses track work. So that's good to see the support from him already.
Yep, would have been well briefed before coming up too by people like David Hayes, I would have thought. All right, so that's the situation. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the next 2 here on Racing to Win.